Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Well, 82-81, Texas Tech pulled off another great second-half comeback, down by as many as 10 points, trailing for most of the second half. The Red Raiders fought back. They were clutch, whatever you want to say. And you said it eloquently, as usual, in your Yeager shots, mighty Joe. But just what was your thoughts from Texas Tech's big victory over the Horned Frogs here at the USA on Tuesday night?
First thing I just want to say that I believe there should be a new medical diagnosis for basketball hangover. Man, because, these games that the Tech is playing or these comebacks that we've seen over and over this year, particularly in Big 12 play, man, they just wring the life out of you, and the next day you're like, whew, boy. So I'm recovering. I can just imagine what those guys are feeling like. Actually going through the ordeal on the court. It's amazing how these people can bounce back and persevere through this sort of a mentally taxing grind the way they do. It's awfully tough stuff. Hard ways to win games, but that's it. This team wins the hard way. They don't make it easy. And I'll tell you something, if you get this Texas Tech team down, you had better stomp on them.
Yeah.
And just stomp the life out of them. And make sure there's not a pulse there anymore, because if you don't, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to bounce back and bite you later on in the game. It's just happened to people over and over again. I don't know how much we need to belabor the point, but this team just shows a remarkable resiliency. I said something about a burning will to survive. No matter what it looks like they're down and out, they refuse to give up, and they play to the bone, as Chris Beard used to say. Play it to the bone. It means all the way to the end, regardless of what the score is. And it pays dividends, and it certainly did last night. That one was one of the toughest ones I've ever sat through at a Texas Tech basketball game. Didn't look good there for most of the game. It felt like Tech was kind of getting dominated for much of the game, mainly because of the rebounding.
Yeah.
We always talk about these sort of football to basketball, basketball to football analogies, and it's like when a team is killing you on the glass, it's like a team is running the ball on
Absolutely.
you, man.
Yeah.
It's that same sort of thing. It's the physical aspect. Their physical will is being imposed upon you. And I think maybe more than any game that Texas Tech has played this year, except for maybe Houston, that was happening last night. TCU was just wearing Texas Tech out physically inside. And, it's just remarkable that they were able to overcome that. Usually if a football team is winning the game on the ground and out-rushing you by 150 yards or something like that, you're going to lose, But Tech got out-rebounded by 13 and gave up 21 offensive rebounds and still managed to win. It was just it was something to behold. It really was.
One of the primary reasons for that is that Warren Washington missed his second straight game, with third and 4 or 5 games he's missed now. Robert Jennings started. He's had a couple of good performances, especially at home, as you noted last week. But it was Kyron Lindsey who came in, 8.7 rebounds, couple blocks. He did a couple of really nice things. I thought he played really well. I really like what you said in your Yeager shots, so that's something to note. Also, and I'll lob it over to you after this, Pop Isaacs, I love the fact that, I don't love the fact he was 0 for 5 from deep, but I love the fact that he's not just a one-trick pony, as you'd say. He did kind of remake his game, stop shooting from deep, and got to the free throw line. When they really needed him, he knocked him down. Him and Joe Toussaint made 7 of 7 free throws in the final couple minutes to seal that victory. You don't make every one of those, you probably don't win that game. So that's about as clutch as it gets, Joe.
Yeah, no question about it. And, we may be seeing the way forward for Pop right now. Yeah. They don't want to be too dramatic about it, but, yeah. We could be seeing sort of the transition of Pop Isaacs. When he got here, he was basically a shooting guard.
Yeah.
He was that was his game. It was hitting the three-pointer at a high percentage, 38%, I believe it was, his freshman year. And we thought we would see more of that this year, and that just really hasn't materialized. And what you saw last night was Pop playing more like a point guard and being successful at it. He instead of standing out there and hoisting up threes, he was penetrating, getting to the rim, and either getting fouled and scoring or finding somebody else. and he was like 4-2 in assist turnovers or something like that. And maybe that's just what we're going to see him rely on for the most part for the rest of the season, possibly. I mean, I don't know if he won't completely abandon the three. It's kind of part of who he is. But we may see him just become more of a point guard as time goes on. And, that's not a bad thing. Texas Tech has other shooters,
Not only were Pop and Joe very efficient at the free throw line, but they also were very efficient in terms of taking care of the ball. You just mentioned with Pop, Joe Tisana had 7 assists and just 1 turnover. The Red Raiders only had 9 turnovers as a team for the game. I think that was a huge key because, like you said, they were getting just pounded on the glass, which was pretty – it was inevitable. That's been a weakness all season without Warren Washington. They're just – and not to mention Devin Cambridge. They're just really small inside going against these physical Big 12 teams. But if you could counteract that with efficiency on offense, even when Pop and Joe aren't really shooting great in terms of from the field, they could overcome that, which is pretty amazing, Mike Joe. That efficiency at the free throw line, that efficiency in terms of on offense is something I didn't see coming into the season, but it is a thing. We've seen it. We have enough evidence this season. That is their strength. Efficiency on offense. They're very good at the free throw line.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And this is an offensive team. The defense is hit and miss. Sometimes it's pretty good, sometimes it's not. But you can pretty much always count on the offense giving you enough to make you competitive and to keep you in the game and to give you a shot to win. And that was it. And last night, like you said, 9 turnovers. That's a low turnover game. And I believe they forced, was it 13 or something like that?
Yeah, that's right.
You win the turnover margin 13-9. That's pretty good. And when you're not shooting the ball well, it's very important to be low turnover because you don't get empty possessions. At least you're getting shots up. So you get volumes of shots, and some of them eventually are going to fall. And, of course, the free throw shootings speaks for itself. This is the best free throw shooting team in the history of Texas Tech basketball. I think by a fairly wide margin. I haven't checked recently, but that was the case earlier in the year, and I think it's only improved after last night's showing. So this is a historic team from that standpoint, and you just want them to continue to get to the free throw line as much as possible because they're money once they get there.
Up next, Texas Tech takes on UCF. It's a rematch. The Red Raiders here just recently had a really tough, it was an ugly game, but it was beautiful for Red Raider fans as Texas Tech came out on top. Now it's there in Florida. What's it look like this Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, well, it's just going to be another bruising sort of a game. And when Tech played them the first time, they didn't even have their 7-footer. Ibrahima Diallo, who leads the Big 12 and blocks shots. It's either him or Washington. They're like within 1/10 of a percentage point of each other. So that guy's back. And, it was tough enough with him out.
Yeah.
So that's only going to make it tougher. Plus, it's on the road.
And Warren Washington.
And we don't know what the situation is with Warren Washington. I kind of expected him probably to be back last night, and he wasn't. So is he going to be back Saturday? Man, you sure hope so because you could sure use him. UCF hasn't been winning a lot of games. They're tied with like West Virginia and Oklahoma State in the cellar. I think Oklahoma State because they haven't played as many games as maybe a half game behind those two. But anyway, they're down there at the bottom of the stack. If they want to have any chance of making it to the NCAA tournament, they got to win out, and I'm sure Johnny Dawkins, that's what he's telling them. Well, we can still do this thing. We can still win all our games, get to 900 in Big 12 play, and then see what happens. So that's going to be the message to his team. It'll be a difficult game, but you don't count this Texas Tech team out. Central Florida is not good enough, even at home, that I think that they can just kind of blow Tech out. And if you don't blow Tech out, you're in danger, as we've seen.
Yeah.
If Texas Tech stays within contact, there's a pretty good chance they're going to come back in the end and may very well win this game. So I expect it to be another very close game, and load up on your blood pressure medication and your whiskey and everything else that helps you to get through these things, because it's going to be a tough one, I'm sure.
At least we have a little bit of time to get ready for it. Mike, Joe,
Yeah,
great stuff from you as always. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.